Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemmon. Worcester police are investigating a serious pedestrian crash tonight. The victim was brought to the hospital with serious injuries. Police say they do not appear to be life-threatening. It happened around 6:30 p.m. at the corner of Oriad and Main Streets. Police say the driver of the truck fled the scene but was eventually located. The crash is under investigation. It comes just hours after the district attorney called a press conference to ask drivers and pedestrians to be careful on the roads. Our Cam Jandro has more on the important reminder.
3 fatal accidents within hours of each other in central Massachusetts has law enforcement urging drivers to be careful.
Come to a full stop at the red lights and don't move forward until the light is changed to green and you've made sure no pedestrians are in the road. Please use common sense.
District Attorney Joe Early Jr., Worcester Police, Leicester Police, and the Massachusetts State Police held an impromptu press conference Wednesday. The DA says darkness was a factor in one of the 2 Worcester crashes. The driver in the other Worcester crash was charged for operating under the influence. On the eve of Thanksgiving, the Massachusetts State Police say it's one of the most dangerous times of the year.
We don't want to see any aggressive driving because ultimately that's what results in accidents. During these holidays, we can see a rise in serious injury accidents and fatalities.
AAA expects more than 1 million Massachusetts residents will travel by car in the coming days. Governor Charlie Baker signed the hands-free law earlier this week, making it illegal to hold a cell phone while driving. While it doesn't take effect until 2020, AAA says this should help make the roads more safe.
With the passage of the hands-free law, we can take a look at other ways that we can all work together to have a better driving culture and to drive safely.
And while there was an emphasis put on driver safety, Worcester Police and the DA say it's a two-way street, and pedestrians must do their part too.
Pay attention, extra attention to the roadways. This means putting down the phone and eliminating distractions, whether you are walking or driving.
Never assume that the driver can see you, and never step into the road before the cars have stopped. And never, ever please text or use your phone in a texting manner when you're crossing the street.
Now, if you do have to travel in the coming days, some things to keep in mind. Make sure there's enough gas in your car and your tires are properly pumped up. Worcester Police says to ensure safer roads, they're going to have extra patrols through the weekend. In the studio tonight, I'm Cam Jandro, Worcester News Tonight.
Many drivers tried to beat the holiday rush on the roads today by starting their trips this morning. Some even took a more creative approach with their travel plans this year. Our Matt Rustino has more.
Driving on Thanksgiving Eve can be frustrating. It's why many people were already on the road Wednesday morning trying to beat the crowds.
So far, so good. Little trouble getting on to 290 and then getting on the Pike, but other than that, it's been moving pretty good.
AAA predicts a 3% increase in holiday travelers this year. Craig Brandon has made the trip from Boston to Buffalo for 20 years. He says the traffic is just as bad now as it's always been.
It doesn't seem to have changed much. People say traffic is worse now than it was 20 years ago, but it doesn't feel like the trip's any different to me.
Some people have unorthodox ways of beating the traffic. Evelyn Novins drives from Virginia to Connecticut every year. This year, she and her husband took a vacation last weekend to try to shorten their Wednesday drive.
We decided to leave early and go to Maine on our way to Connecticut. It doesn't make much sense, but it's been a good trip, and the traffic on off days hasn't been so bad.
A report from Google finds the best time for travel is 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. University of Maine student Ilkido Sandor did just that.
It wasn't too bad because I left at like 2 in the morning, but now that I've passed rush hour, because rush hour went through and it got a little hectic, it seems to be not too bad.
Getting there in time for Thanksgiving is only half the battle. For some, the trip back home can be even worse.
That can be a little hairy in some spots, especially near Boston. But Black Friday now, so who knows what it's going to be like. Hopefully they'll all be in malls.
For those traveling home Thanksgiving night, MassDOT has announced that free coffee will be served at 18 highway rest stops across the state, including all 11 on the Mass Pike. You can pick up your free cup of coffee from 10 p.m. on Thursday until 5 a.m. Friday. In Worcester, Matt Rustino, Worcester News Tonight.
Travelers in the area also utilizing the Worcester Regional Airport for the holiday. This is the first time in decades the airport will have 3 major airlines flying out of the city during the Thanksgiving rush. There was a steady flow of travelers this afternoon heading to destinations including Florida and Detroit. For those heading out for the holiday, there was a common theme for why they chose the Worcester Regional Airport.
So easy. I mean, we hopped in the car 5 minutes ago and we're already in. We already are parking and we're going to be in the air very shortly. It just makes all the sense in the world if you're traveling with kids.
If you live in Leominster, Mass, it's very convenient and it's got the hospitality, JetBlue, nonstop, and it's very easy. It ain't like a zoo coming out of Boston to where I live in Leominster.
And AAA expects nearly 4.5 million Americans will fly this Thanksgiving. A happy homecoming for Worcester firefighter Christopher Pace. We're learning tonight firefighter Pace was released from the hospital. He was injured while working a 4-alarm fire on Stockholm Street earlier this month. Firefighter Pace was able to escape the home with the help of Lieutenant Jason Menard, who lost his life in the line of duty. Pace has been a member of the Worcester Fire Department since March 2018. A Chicopee man leads police on a chase through several towns. Officers say this isn't the first time they've had a run-in with the suspect. Tonight, he's facing multiple charges. Our Valerie Bell has more.
A little before 2 a.m. Wednesday, when a Chicopee police officer stopped a driver for running a red light. Police say when the officer asked the man if there was anything in the car they should be aware of, he said no, then sped off, leading police on a lengthy high-speed chase.
Onto 91, 391, through Springfield, back on the highway, back into Holyoke, into South Hadley.
The chase ended up on Spring Street. But as you can see here, this road is a dead end. So police say when the driver reached the top of the street, that's when he escaped his vehicle and fled by foot into the woods of what neighbors call a quiet area.
It was kind of scary because it's very dark up here, and although we have sensor lights, I didn't know where the suspect would have gone.
Everybody knows it's a lot of woods here, so they tend to run in the woods, think they're going to get away, and they don't.
Police arrested the man, identifying him as Chicopee resident Michael Janus. They say they know Janus from previous firearm and drug offenses. Officers found a large amount of cash, but say there were no weapons in his car.
There could be something that maybe came out of the car during this pursuit. Again, we don't know that. That's the question, that we would like to know. I mean, it was a simple red light. Why flee?
Police say the suspect also tried to bribe officers to let him go.
He did say to one of the officers that he had a brand new dirt bike and a quad, and they were the officers if he chose to let him go, and obviously that's not going to happen.
It was very unsettling, especially when I saw the line of police cruisers down the street.
With the Thanksgiving holiday this week, neighbors say they feel much safer knowing the man is in custody.
I have a 3-year-old granddaughter, so, if it was nice out, she would be able to go out and play, and I don't think I'd really allow it if I didn't know that this person was actually apprehended.
I feel safe here. As long as people don't bother me, I don't bother people, so I feel safe. And the cops are good.
Reporting in Chicopee, Valerie Bell, Worcester News Tonight.
One letter caused some commotion over the last 24 hours. A Cape Cod baseball team wasn't happy to see a similar W logo on WooSox merchandise. Tonight, we're learning the issue is being resolved. The Worcester Red Sox announced their team nickname and logos this week. The Wareham Gatemen of the Cape Cod Baseball League considered legal action if the WooSox didn't get rid of one of their standalone W logos. The Gatemen say they've had this W for decades and had it trademarked in 2014 and say it resembles one of the WooSox logos. Their senior vice president says he's had positive conversations with the Worcester Red Sox this afternoon. They plan to settle out of court and will speak again next week. The Worcester Railers making a change at the top of today. The team fired general manager and head coach Jamie Russell and assistant coach Derek Army. They're bringing in a familiar face to coach the team. Dave Cuniff will be taking over for Russell. Cuniff spent 8 seasons in Worcester as an assistant coach for the Worcester Sharks. Railers president Mike Meyer says it was a hard decision, but the team was not meeting expectations. The Railers are currently last in the North Division in the ECA.